I'ma get to the bag, ayy. Got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast, ayy. Ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss, ayy.
Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by the NMFTA. Let me ask you a question. Do you ship LTL freight? Then listen up, because the NMFC changes went live on July 19th, and they're the biggest updates in the history of freight classification. Now more than ever, accuracy matters. That's why carriers, shippers, and brokers alike are turning to Class IT Plus, the NMFTA's new digital platform for real-time NMFC data. Stop guessing, start classifying smarter, and quote freight with confidence. It's time to get your ship together because the NMFC changes are already here. Learn more at nmfcchanges.com and get started with Class IT Plus at classitplus.com. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back for our final live appearance here at IANA this morning, and we're here to talk about a topic that I think should be front and center of most people out there if it's not inside the transportation industry, and that's tracking. At the end of the day, cargo theft is, I hate to call it an industry, but it's a billion-dollar industry at this point.
Sure.
And people need to know where their goods are. So I have Mr. Curtis Spencer on the show here now. So Curtis, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for having me.
No, I mean, honestly, when with where we are in the industry, so like I've been in transportation for about 20 years now. And with where theft is at this point, I never thought it was going to evolve to this point. And then especially have it be an industry that is as large as it is, because it's nonstop and it's growing.
Nonstop, and it's sophisticated.
Yeah.
These guys are not your run-of-the-mill Bubba and Jobo, coming to steal your trailer. These guys are sophisticated as hell. The reason that we created Bloodhound tracking device was first a security device that had the best-in-class tracking suite. So it's cell, GPS, SATCOM, and a NASA-based disruptive tolerant network mesh. Think of the IoT mesh. You take your phone, you turn on the air conditioner, you lower the thermostat of your refrigerator in your house.
Yeah.
Think of that 5 kilometers wide.
Yeah.
That's our mesh. So when containers or trailers in a tight terminal stack can't see the sky, we mesh that information to the one who can see the sky, and therefore we never lose comms.
Okay. So how does this work? Are you guys out there going directly to the manufacturers overseas, placing it in the containers out there, or is that something that gets in stateside after it's been cross-docked here?
Yeah. So primarily we're going after container carrier fleets,
Yeah,
the trailer fleets, the chassis fleets.
gotcha.
Because I don't know if you've heard this, but lately chassis theft has now blown higher than trailer theft. Yes.
Gotcha.
Someone mentioned to us this morning they'd lost 150 trailer chassis in Houston in the last month.
Dang.
150. I mean, chassis aren't cheap anymore.
No.
They're up to 20 grand a pop, and
Yeah.
losing 150, just do that math. It's terrible. So what we provide is not only tamper evidence, when, where, we also provide for containers and trailers, we take your picture if you open the door.
Oh, wow.
A 3-second, 6-second, and 12-second burst. Now, what this does is it proves beyond a shadow of a doubt who the hell stole my stuff.
Yeah.
everybody wants to know, where is my stuff?
Yeah.
Where's my box? Where's my trailer? But the real issue is, now that I know where my trailer is, if someone comes and tries to take our units off, it pings me.
Yeah.
You know exactly when that happened, where that happened. If someone opens the door and they're not supposed to open the door, you're going to get the picture taken.
Gotcha.
We actually, in one of our trials with an ocean carrier, they were sending containers to Mexico and back.
Yeah.
Found a guy, took his picture, he took the unit off and tried to destroy the unit.
Oh, wow.
They ended up tracking the guy down and got our unit back. Now, this is perfect evidence. Over 175,000 miles of trials, they've got evidence we got the back.
Yeah.
And that's huge for theft.
No, absolutely. So, like, are you guys, when you're saying you're on the chassis there, like, are you guys installing it directly on the chassis?
Yes.
And then, okay, so like
So a chassis lessor
yeah,
would say, give me 50,000 units to put on all my chassis. A container lacing company or a container operator, meaning the big, 20 top ocean carriers, or your CQ,
Yeah.
or your companies like that, they're saying, hey, we want to put this fleet wide. It's not, track and trace is 100% on reefers.
Yeah.
It's not for reefers anymore.
Yeah.
Drury and everybody else in the industry say that by 2030, 2032, the whole entire dry box fleet will have some form of track and trace.
See, because like I own a brokerage, right? At the end of the day, so I'm in this, like, and we move high value machines, like we're moving
Exactly.
$250,000, $500,000 machines out there, and I look at it now, where I'm sitting is it's almost like I'm surprised there's not like an OEM adoption.
It's a have to.
Yeah.
It's not a want to. Anymore.
Yeah.
It's a have to. And for the same price of track and trace, I'll give you the security.
Yeah.
That's the difference with Bloodhound. We got better comms. We got the security side, and we got the tamper evidence. Somebody tries to steal it, take it off, whatever. We got it.
What was the driving force behind founding this? I can tell you're passionate about this. It's very evident.
It's 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
The Commissioner of Customs was brought in that day by George Bush, President Bush.
Yeah.
I was called early 2002 to be on a committee to look at all of the technology to help secure the supply chain.
Yeah.
We spent 4 months searching for that. In 2002, I had to report to the commissioner, sir, there's nothing out there.
Yeah.
Seals, but seals get taken off.
For sure.
GPS was just in its infancy. So for 25 years now, I've been searching for this. And 3 years ago, ran into a friend of mine who worked at NASA, had just left NASA, wrote the book on satellite communications for NASA.
Yeah.
I said, can we do this? He said, well, we can miniaturize it. Yeah, we do that in NASA. We can make the batteries last forever. We do that in NASA. We can put cameras in there. Cameras. Yeah. Because then you've got proof positive.
Yeah.
You remember, you probably reported on this, but you remember about 6 months ago in Chicago, a bunch of containers got open and they pulled the TVs out.
Yeah.
UP had cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
They were on it, but they don't have enough validation proof because they don't get the picture of the guy.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm standing up there trying to grab a TV off the container, I got his picture.
Yeah.
That's what the difference is. So you get not only the security of that, you get the proof of it. One more really important piece. Our communications unit sits on the outside. Our sensor unit, temperature, humidity, shock, CO2 for human trafficking.
Yeah.
All of that is on the inside. Our units talk to each other, and they talk to every other unit within 5 kilometers. And our outside unit looks like a container vent.
Okay.
So when it's on a trailer, it's sitting on top. You can't see it.
Oh, wow.
When it's in a container, it fits right in with the other container vent.
Yeah.
And now you got 2 units that, the covert, when the guy stole the deal in Mexico, didn't touch the outside unit, didn't even know it was there.
Oh, wow.
Let it go.
Yeah.
And it's reporting the whole time. We've been ripped off.
Yeah. No, that's
right.
I just look at it now with where things are, out there. Again, it's a $1 billion industry that's out there. And then, I think from my perspective, again, I'm not a criminologist. I'm just a dude who's moved a lot of freight in my career. And what really stuck out to me, Curtis, is it was back in COVID, and that Amazon, or there was a rail car here in LA that got
Yes,
popped.
sir.
And I was like, so wait a second. I'm like, I don't know if you guys are can actually understand the amount of rail cars that are on that train, and they just happen to know the one that had all the TVs in it. And then because I'm like,
That was the first one, though.
yeah.
Because they ended up taking they opened up over 100 boxes
Yeah.
on that rail line,
And
right in the middle of LA.
yeah, and I try to tell people, I'm like, at what point are we going to start looking at the fact that it's an inside job? It's way more organized than any of you guys
Now you're
even
thinking.
think.
Now you're thinking.
And everybody was overlooking that. They're like, oh, they just. I'm like, no, you guys don't understand. We're talking tens, if not hundreds of thousands of containers that are rocking through here, goods of all sizes. Your regular petty theft does not just happen to pull
No.
the holy grail of containers.
So you asked me why we got into this. 40 years of logistics consulting.
Yeah.
Customs consulting.
Yeah.
So when you put the customs glasses on, you see everything in the world of drugs and smuggling and contraband and all that stuff. So that got me thinking like that guy.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's the head of loss prevention for Target and I did a speech together at Mass Maritime, and it was on security.
Yeah.
And he said 78% of all theft insider.
Yeah.
It's inside, and that's why, the customs people there. I'm real attuned with them. I've friends all the way from the top customs down to a port director and the officer in charge, because that's the other work that I do in consulting. And they're constantly thinking, no, this isn't right.
Yeah.
Something doesn't quite add up. You look for it, and it's internal conspiracy 7-8%.
Yeah. No, that's not. I mean, at this point, it's not surprising to me.
No.
But I look at it as it's like with the way that you guys have set this up. It's one thing to take a container, but it's another thing to know who's taking it. How do we
When,
trace that?
where, and who?
And that's exactly it, right? Because again, it's like not naive to think like, oh, if you stop one bad guy, it's all going to go away.
No.
But again, like there's patterns, and there's a lot smarter people than I am out there who are going to be able to, I think, eventually curb this or minimize this down, because it's all probably spawning from the same group of
Yes.
individuals. And
Well,
by group, I mean criminals.
That group is expanding as we
Yeah.
speak too. That's the bad thing. Chris, if you think about this, what we need is a covert track and trace.
Yeah.
And the senior VP of JB Hunt last year on the podium saying, what we need is a covert track and trace device. We're going to have track and trace on everything.
Yeah.
Now, how do you up that? That's going to be the entry level.
Yeah.
How do you up that game? You got to have security. You got to have tamper-proof, and you got to have covert installation.
Yeah.
Our units, by the way, go in 5 minutes. You register the trailer number, you register the QR code, and it goes on. And that ties you're the customer. That ties your trailer, your container, your chassis number to that unit.
Yeah.
And then that unit, you don't get a serial number of that unit pop up on your dashboard. You get your trailer number. So that ties into your lighting, it ties into your shipper information. You know exactly where that thing is. And somebody just got it. I know where and when, and I just took a picture of it.
Do you think that this is something, I know blockchain isn't necessarily a thing anymore, but if you're talking about that and having each individual shipment kind of tell a story at that point, right?
Right.
This is something to me where it's like, again, we have so much information that's out there readily available. Like there should never be a question about where my freight is, what's going on with it, and stuff like
and
that.
yet 27% of shippers still say we don't, we're satisfied.
Yeah.
80% are not satisfied with where my freight is. But you brought up a good point. One of the things we have in our back-end database, because we're gathering information on tons and tons of shipments, thousands, hundreds of thousands, machine learning, AI, to determine patterns of life.
Yeah.
Once you get patterns of life info back to the customers, they're going to say, why is it always 2 days, 2 hours, whatever, late going this route versus going this route?
Yeah.
We're going to start shipping this route.
Yeah.
And your reliability goes up, the resilience goes up. All of that increases because now I've got patterns of life within my within my entire system that I can deal on.
Yeah. I'm assuming a hurdle that you guys are faced with is the affordability of this, right? Because it's, again, I look at it as if you own equipment out there, at some point your insurance is going to be like, all right, we got to talk about this.
100%.
So like from a cost perspective, what could somebody be, you know, to set themselves up for?
As far as I know, there's two elements of that question. As far as I know, every large underwriting group has told us, because I've worked with them in customs for years, you get 6 months to a year's worth of data for us to prove the protection and the security, and we're start lowering everybody's insurance rate that use your unit.
Yeah.
Customs we're talking to for cross border are true green lane. If you use this unit, you get a true green lane.
Yeah.
No, that's not in place yet, but it's coming.
Yeah.
Something's coming. But the other part of that is we solved that problem. I think we're the only track and trace device that requires zero CapEx.
Okay.
You want to buy the units? Buy the units. You don't want to buy the units, we'll lease you over a 5-year period. So it takes that cost down to, dollars a month, not $1,000 to purchase the unit, blah, blah, blah. So it's a huge, huge savings for medium and smaller size users who can't foot a $12 million upfront bill for the cost of the item. They want, hey, $35 a month. Oh, I can swing that.
Yeah.
So it's real easy to enter into our use.
Do you think, especially inside of transportation, do you think at some point it's going to be a requirement by your underwriter or your insurance company that you will need to have something like this on there? Like I look at it, like I do domestic truckload. That's our jam.
And as a broker, you're going to require that.
Yeah, it's, outward facing cameras is a big deal. And, I have a lot of accident guys come on my show. I've seen all the horrific stuff out there, but I also have seen the ugly side of nuclear verdicts that have attacked the trucking industry.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to prove that you didn't do it, right? Like, unfortunately, I feel like most truck drivers are guilty until proven innocent. And I just look at like, this is just another iteration of like, if you own a fleet, you need to protect your
You
goods.
absolutely do. Our first sale was to a trucking company in Pennsylvania. The reason was they are doing high value freight as well. They want that protected, and they want to lower their insurance costs. They're really into lowering their insurance costs, not only for their trailers, but also for the freight that they're hauling.
Yeah.
Because you offer that to the customer. I mean, think of these guys that have, cell phones and computers and data center, servers. I just left the conference in Vegas. 39,000 people, all about solar, data centers, battery energy storage. They're shipping all those in containers.
Yeah.
Well, then I heard from one of those customers that there's a gang of Russian mafia in LA Long Beach searching for those to be able to steal it. That's $500,000 in one container. Yeah. $500,000 in one container. Everybody wants servers.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a whole container full of solar panels. You could flip that stuff out on, on eBay, for God's sakes.
And that's the thing is I think, Curtis, a lot of people might think our stuff isn't a target, but I look at it as most stuff is. Like, it doesn't matter. Toothbrush, doesn't matter. Like, you got to look at it as how quick could somebody liquidate this?
Exactly right.
And then especially today, like credit card debt's at an all-time high in this country. There's a bunch of different factors out here. We're not here to talk about the economy, but I look at it as you need to look like how fast could somebody get rid of this?
Yeah.
More times than not, like, and especially in today's environment, you could have a truckload of stuff gone. And like where I think a lot of people are looking at cargo theft wrong, Curtis, is they think it's going to be stored in a warehouse somewhere. That shit's gone by the time that truck is taken. It's already gone. And
it could even be pre-sold.
Yeah. It already.
I had a guy, the president of the largest resin packaging, that little plastic pellets, resin packaging company in the world. President of that company told me they're stealing trailer 53s full of plastic resin in 55-kilo bags.
Yeah.
Easy to sell a skid of 55-kilo bag. Easy to sell. I mean, the total value of that box is $30,000.
Yeah.
And they're stealing it.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's
it's 30
crazy.
grand for that, or else a criminal could take it and sell it to some of these guys for $5,000.
Exactly.
It's 100%
And it
profit.
pays his rent. Exactly.
No,
If you have no basis, then it pays for itself.
No, I agree. And I look at it as this is one of those things that's going to continue to evolve. But I like the covert aspect of this. I'm going to have you come on my show again.
Oh, I
And
love
we're
to,
going to
bro.
talk a little bit more in depth about this because we got to kind of wrap this up here
No
today.
problem.
But Curtis, I'll have you back on because I feel like we're going to put on a master class here, and especially I could feel how passionate you are about this.
Oh my God, this is my life's work, my friend. I literally searched for 20 years to find something. And because I couldn't find it, we created it.
I love it. How does anybody reach out to you guys to find out more about what you got?
Booth 1613 at IANA. That's number one. Number two, real simple. If you just Google Bloodhound tracking device, you go right to the website.
Perfect. Thank you so much. If
man.
you guys can't find Curtis or Bloodhound out there, hit me up. I will gladly put you guys in contact with them. But that's going to be it for this at IANA. You guys, the final interview out there. As always, if you got value in what you heard and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious after this one, rank the show on iTunes and Spotify because if you saw value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live at IANA here. And we're back with the Freight Coach podcast. We're also back with my friend Keith of the NMFTA. And we're going to be talking about the Digital Standards Council and what his talk is going to be here at the show. So, Keith, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Thanks so much for having me.
No, I'm looking forward to this. And it's also great to have you in person as well, because it's the first time we've actually met. And, Keith, what is it about your discussion tomorrow on the show? Like, obviously, this is going to be released out a little bit after the show here, but what are you going to be discussing the most during your talk tomorrow?
So I'm going to be talking a lot about what the Digital Standards Development Council, and I'm just going to say DSDC going forward because that's a mouthful there, and what we're trying to do with the industry as a whole, the transportation industry. We're trying to develop a common language for carriers, shippers, 3PLs, technology providers to communicate for the entire logistics process by using APIs.
Yeah. So, like, with it, I mean, there's so many different angles inside of transportation, right? You have your drayage carriers, you have your steamship lines, intermodal, LTL. Everybody's seemingly operating on their own systems at the end of the day, right? Do you think that has led to greater inefficiencies in the market? Do you think like starting here and getting them all talking the same language is going to improve efficiencies overall?
It's got to.
Yeah.
It's got to improve the efficiencies. If you think of what it takes for a carrier to set up a new connection with a shipper, maybe a logistics provider, whoever it may be, and what it takes to start exchanging information through API and just the professional services work that goes into that, if we could get people to be on the same standard, there'd still be some back and forth, but it'd be just that much quicker.
Yeah.
And keep going.
Do you think that API adoption is going to exponentially increase out here? Or because, like, I was just talking about this with the last guest on there. I feel like the biggest threat to progress inside of this industry is that this is the way that we've always done things, right? And it's really getting, digitizing the entire industry it's a challenge, which I'm sure you guys know, because there's so many different companies that are out there. There's not a single way of doing things. How do we get more and more people to kind of upgrade their systems to get it more through API connectivity?
So that's a huge concern for us, right? And there's a lot of standards out there. There's a lot of larger companies that would say, hey, we think this should be the standard. This is what we use here, which makes sense. But what we're trying to do with the DSDC is to really bring together those people, right? So we have on our councils, we have carriers, we have shippers, we have 3PLs, we have technology providers, and we're bringing them together in order to come together and not just on the API language itself, but hey, what does this term mean? What's that definition of that field here? Let's start talking the same language overall to make it easy.
Yeah.
In the end.
What are some of the big hurdles, do you think, for a company to adopt more of a tech presence via API and stuff like that? Because it's obviously it's a complex process at times. I'm sure to the IT and the tech guys out there, like, hey, this isn't complex at all. But to the everyday person out there, if they've never had a presence what are some of those early hurdles that you guys have helped people overcome with this?
Yeah, so some of the early hurdles, you already mentioned blind. This is the way we've always done it. It works for us. It's really well. It works really well. So EDI is a great example, right? And I love EDI. I remember before EDI when you'd have to write down all the information, get it into a system somehow.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic, right? I think some of the key things that we've brought up that have helped people overcome this is, even EDI is very static. Once you get into APIs, things change, business requirements change. APIs are very malleable that way. They're able to change as well. So you can change around the data and do it very easily. That you may be sending back and forth. It's just a lot easier to do. Here.
Do you think EDI is going to eventually work its way out, or is EDI so ingrained, Keith, that you think it's just going to kind of be around forever?
I think EDI is going to be around for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I am not an EDI hater by any means.
Yeah.
I think it has a very good place within the industry. So I think it's going to be around for a long time. But I think as I said, business needs change, requirements change, and we have to be able to keep updating in order to keep up with that here. One of the great things about APIs is I just came out of an AI session, right? And it starts setting you up in order to implement AI into your systems because now you've got a lot more data that you can use and you can adjust it accordingly.
Yeah.
So,
what are the biggest differences, do you think, between a company that has strictly EDI capabilities and one that has that open API from a connectivity standpoint, communication standpoint?
well, pretty much all companies, if they're communicating digitally, are using both. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not really there's real strict EDI versus API. So, yeah, and if they're communicating with anybody like C.H. Robinson, anybody like that, they are using APIs, I guarantee, right, in some way, shape, or form. So there's not a huge difference there. It's just as I said, with APIs, you can adjust the data. It's easier to change. It's easier to work with as business needs and requirements change.
So when you say we want companies to go out there and speak the same language, are we talking about it from a coding perspective? Can you kind of clarify and break that down?
Yeah, so high level, the same language is, and we spent a lot of time on this. It's kind of funny, but what is it, a shipment or is it a load?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Something like that. As easy as that.
Yeah.
But we wanted to be very exact, right? So even to the field names, their definitions, we wanted at least one common place. And there's always going to be differences in how individual organizations call these things, but at least for the standards themselves, we're starting in one place. And then we also are producing some YAML out there as well, some coding as well, in order to have out there as an open source for people to go and use as well.
Yeah. So it's just having to set standards of terminology out there, acronyms, stuff like that, just to make sure that they are all meaning the exact same thing. And I mean, I'm not even too proud to admit this. I was working with a customer for a few years, and they were like, "Oh, we have a lot of LTL," and I was thinking, "All right, cool, one pallet." Turns out it was partial truckloads that they considered it an LTL and stuff like that. So it is. I mean, the more and more you think about it, there is so many different businesses that are out there operating off of a different standard. How much inaccuracy do you think that's caused, even from like a billing? Because like obviously the NMFTA, big in the LTL space and stuff like that. Have you is that where this kind of all came about, Keith? Where it was you guys had multiple members kind of speaking a different language, even though they were offering the same mode of transportation?
So the way this effort really started was several years ago. And especially with the LTL community, the bill of lading is your contract carriage, right? And they wanted to be able to keep expanding out electronic bill of lading. And that meant, hey, we need a standard for this. There's a lot of people that do it and have been doing it for a long time, but it's hard to implement when you have this standard to talk to organization A, or you've got their method over here that talks to organization B, right? This standard, what it does is hey, let's all work off of this one standard so that you connect to org A. That's okay, right? So that's done. Now this other organization comes along. Hey, we want to connect as well. Are you on the standard? Yeah, okay. let's just need a new endpoint, some credentials, and we know exactly when information is going to be coming across.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it key. It's that implementation, being able to make those connections that much quicker, and without the huge pro services engagement that may take place.
Do you think that having this set language out there is going, because like again, billing is one of those things from my perspective is a major hurdle for a lot of organizations, right? Being able to invoice your customers properly. I will say this, and I catch some heat for this, Keith, is more important than your ability to actually move their freight.
Yeah.
Your ability to invoice them the right way for that billing department that's been doing it the same way for 40 years, for example, is more important than your ability to pick up their freight and deliver it on time, because they're the ones who have the keys to the castle, right? And for so many inside of transportation, cash flow is king at the end of the day. And a payment term that gets delayed by 10 days could be catastrophic for some of those businesses out there. Do you think that this is going to only improve the accuracy of the billing component of this?
Absolutely. Right. One of the big things in the LTL world is, of course, updates to the invoice after this freight gets inspected. And they could adjust the classification of it, or maybe a new accessorium that they have. So we're looking at the entire suite of these things.
Yeah.
Right. Not just EBOL, but also preliminary freight charges just got released for LTL.
Okay.
And that keeps, if you start using that, and the carriers do as well. So it's a tricky thing to get everybody to start using it, but it'll update them when there are changes to the invoice so that they can adjust accordingly and avoid the back and forth that can happen and can delay the actual end all freight payment.
Yeah.
So
was this something that was on your guys' radar prior to the NMFC code changes? Because you guys kind of revamped all of this, or was this kind of like, I guess now that it's all out there, was this kind of like those initial conversations of like, hey, when these code changes come down, we need to get everybody talking the same language here because it's going to be more and more digitized as this progresses. Was that kind of tied in together?
So I'm going to probably switch around the order.
Yeah. Okay.
There. So the LTL Council actually decided on their list of APIs they wanted to work on a while ago. But what the NMFC changes did bring about is we changed around the priority of which ones we want to do. And we felt that preliminary freight charges is one that we had to get out sooner because of those changes.
Okay. Where do you see, like, obviously security, you guys do your cybersecurity conference and all of that stuff out there. When we're talking digital anything, I think cybercrime is like at the top of a lot of companies and organizations' mind, right? Like, how do we keep our data safe? How do we keep this safe? How are you guys really approaching that with APIs, right? And keeping your APIs so it's not going to get compromised?
The great thing about APIs is that you're exchanging information digitally and you're giving credentials as well. So it's very secure as well. So the actual exchange of information through APIs is secure. And you have to keep protecting that information, of course, right? To keep people from stealing the loads. And that's just one example of it there. But we continue to make sure that these are secure, and especially the endpoints themselves, right? Going back and forth, that you do have to have those protected.
Yeah. Do you think then, with where things are kind of evolving out there with this, I mean, like the simplest form for me, how would you describe that API transmission that's going on out there? Like you're saying, like you're given access. Is it like a car key? Essentially, like you need that car key for that specific model out there. Is that like from a protection standpoint? Is that a kind of a close parallel at least?
So the great thing about APIs is that you can reach out, you can get information or ask for information back, right? So you send out, you get a response back with the information. It's really quick. It's instantaneous for the most part. Or you can actually push out information. For instance, BOL information. The shipper, by using that, okay, here's everything you need for the load. They push it out to the carrier. So you can go either way there. That's really the best way to put it, is with asking and receiving information. But you can do it anytime in a snap finger, and what information you're going to get back.
Is there a certain sector of the industry you guys are focusing on first here, right? Because it's like, if we look at it, LTL speaks their own language, truckload, freight forwarders, everything. Are you guys attacking one sector at a time, or is this something where you guys are going to go rip the Band-Aid off and just run full steam?
So we have two councils right now, Chris. We've got LTL council and a full truckload council. We're working independently, but I was actually just on a call this morning with an LTL work group and a full truckload work group working together, talking about the e-bill rating and how we can maybe pull it together eventually.
Yeah.
So it's just one standard. So
Yeah.
there are some differences, no doubt. But I think what we're finding is that there's a lot more commonalities, and then how do we handle those differences as well? And it's funny, even things like intermodal comes up as we're looking through some product requirement documents from the work groups. Will this work for intermodal as well? Well, yeah, it probably would, but right now we're kind of staying focused on LTL for truckload.
Yeah.
So, but we can definitely easily expand that. So
No, I mean, I think that, at the end of the day, there are a lot of parallels out there. Like, I guarantee, and I'm sure the more your council and everybody sits down together, like, all right, we are actually saying the exact same thing. It's just a different way it's all worded out there.
Yeah.
Do you think that with this, do you think that there's going to continue to be any form of pushback, or have you guys been doing this long enough now, Keith, to where it's like you have enough success cases where it's like, hey guys, this is why we need to do it? Like, yes, we've heard all of this before. I'm going to actually stop you before you say anything. We know this, and this.
I oftentimes compare it to pushing a stone up a hill, right? And eventually we're going to get to that crest. And it's going to start picking up its own momentum. We're still pushing it up the hill. Now, we've had a lot of successes. C.H. Robinson has adopted e-bill rating. Estes has. I know that J.B. Hunt is working on it as well. So we've got a lot of successes, a lot of people using it out there. Worldwide Express, TQL, right? I could keep going for a while. So they're starting to really use it out there. It's just going to take time to get to that point where it starts getting its own momentum downhill, and we'll get there.
Yeah,
we're committed to.
I'm almost convinced that the more the providers are bought in, like you brought, Robinson, Estes, very big providers out there. I feel like eventually they're going to go in and reach enough shippers with it where enough shippers are going to see the benefits of it. And then that will be the requirement moving forward. Because I feel like that's the only, that's like the big hurdle that you need to cross right away.
Mhm.
Is like, if you want something done, go to the people who are controlling the freight, and then all the service providers will fall in line out there. Because if a shipper out there, like the largest company, is like, no, you need to do it this way, literally everybody will fall in line within a heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly. That's our thinking too, especially bringing in the technology vendors themselves, because once they're using it, now that's really kind of almost like a pass.
Yeah. Is that something then where you guys are going, like you're bringing up the technology vendors? So are you guys going to like the TMS companies, tracking software, stuff like that, and really building that out from there?
Yes. The TMS companies, my carrier is part of the LTL council. And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting others here.
No.
So that's all right. But yes, absolutely. We feel that's really important because they're the ones at the leading edge there. We want to make sure that they start using that standard so that going forward, anybody new that they're connecting to, hey, this is our standard. This is where we want you to connect going forward. And it's just, again, it's building that momentum. It's getting to that critical mass.
Yeah. What are some of those continued short-term hurdles that you fear are going to be faced with out there? Is it going to be more of like widespread adoption of it here, Keith, or is it going to be another piece of technology that's going to come up that could potentially derail it?
So we've already discussed that, hey, we've done it this way for a long time. One of our other concerns that we talk about regularly is the iteration of these standards. Now, this is open source. We're actually really starting to use GitHub quite a bit. Any developers that are familiar with open source, GitHub is a known platform for that. But what that could result in is more iterations, versions of these standards coming out. So we're actually having a very active discussion right now to make sure that we're handling that appropriately. So as somebody adopts a standard, we're not leaving them behind with a new version. And so
with open source, for example, do you guys see that being like, do you think that AI is going to assist in helping more of widespread adoption? Because I feel like a lot of people, I think people are, at least on like the ground level, are using AI wrong in the sense of like they're trying to treat it like another search engine, where it's like, do you think like that you guys could leverage that to kind of get it out there from a speed of adoption, right? Because I feel like more people would make the change if it was done for them, right? Like if they didn't actually have to put in the work to do it.
Right. You know, that is part of our discussions as well, especially preparing for it as it continues to grow within the industry. You can't go to any of these discussions that we're having here at IANA, and I always call it a requirement. Jokingly. You have to mention AI at least.
Yeah, minimum once.
Yeah. But it's really important because it's continuing to grow, especially with agentic AI coming out here, that it is going to make it easier, to make it more seamless in order to adopt and to switch over to.
No, and I'm right there with you. I mean, at this point, it's all going to be AI content here before we know it. So I had to bring it up one more time because you said you got to at least mention it once in every single talk. So I just wanted to make sure
we check that box.
Yeah, exactly. We're all good there. Keith, I appreciate your time here and looking forward to hearing your chat tomorrow out there. How does anybody reach out to you guys to find out more if they want to start implementing this?
Yeah, just go to www.nmfta.org and you can go to the DSDC link that's in there. We've got everything right there. You can indicate if you're interested in getting involved or you just want to sign up for updates as well.
Perfect. Keith, thank you so much. If you guys can't find Keith or the NMFTA out there, hit me up. I will gladly put you guys in contact with them. But that is going to be it for today, you guys. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang. Window down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when I'm